Namaste. Happy Diwali. My name is Vignesh Kumar, and on behalf of the Hindu Temple Society of North America, I welcome all of you to the 36th session of the Hinduism Learning Series. This session, as you all know, is part of the monthly learning series organized by Akshayam, the young professional team of the New York Ganesh Temple. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can show your support by commenting on Facebook. We would like to start the session with an introductory prayer by our temple priest, Sri Sivakumar Swaminatha Gurukul.
Om Adhipujyaya Devaya Dandamodhagadharine Vallabha Pranakrantaya Sri Vallabha Ganeshaya Mangalam Yashivo Namarubhabhyam Ya Devi Sarvamangalam Tayoho Samspanat Pumsam Sarvado Jayamangalam Vande Mahaganapatim Madhanarisunam Vamor Samstavanida Bhujavettidankam Valli Saburvajamabhittadamasritanam Vani Badi Pramuka Devaganarchidhankrim Hrim Hrim Iti Pridinam Javadantavahyam Tullamanama Tripuradivase Mala Kirida Manamanalamaniya Tamse Vasumate Swayameva Lakshmi Om Bhadrangarne Visrunayama Deva Bhadram Basye Makshavaryajatraha Sthirairangaye Stuttuvagum Sostanobihi Visema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddasravaha Swasti na Pusha Viswavedaha Swasti na Staksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brigaspadir Dadatu Om Santi Shanti Shanti Om Sri Mahavallabha Ganapataye Namaha Om.
Thank you. So this month, we will be talking about the significance of the Diwali festival. Who better to teach us about the many reasons we celebrate this festival than the Director of Religious Services of the New York Ganesh Temple, Shivashri Ravi Vaidyanatha Sivacharya. Please join me in welcoming Sri Sivacharya.
Namaste.
Namaste, Sri Sivacharya.
Namaste.
Deepavali is popularly known as the Festival of Lights, and its spiritual meaning is the awareness of the inner light. Diwali is the celebration of this inner light and marks the victory of good over evil and uplifting of the spiritual darkness. Symbolically, it marks the homecoming of goodwill and faith suggested by the story of Ramayana. It is a significant festival in Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Many legends are associated with Deepavali, and today it is celebrated across the globe as the Festival of Lights, where the lights signify victory of good over the evil within every human being. There are several common factors in celebrating Diwali during the same period of time, stretching from one day to a fortnight. While the story behind Diwali differs from region to region with various philosophies, the essence is the same. Many of you are familiar with the traditions associated with Diwali, including exchanging gifts, wearing new clothes, bursting firecrackers, etc. So for today's learning series, we will be approaching Diwali from a different perspective that introduces you to the science behind the famous festival, along with the tales and legends that speak to its meaning. We'll close off the session by letting you know how the New York Ganesh Temple will be celebrating this year and how you can join in on the festivities. Let us find out from Sri Svacharya as to the real meaning of Deepavali and why it is called so.
Thank you, Ganesh. So Deepavali means, it's basically the root word is from Sanskrit. It means rows of lamps. Rows, that is avali, or arrangement, or lining up, or arrays of lamps. Or that is why it is called as Deepa Avali. So it becomes Deepavali. That's why it is name given like this. And it's one of the very important events and spiritual observance in our faith. And it is actually the homecoming of Lord Rama of Ayodhya after exile of 14 years in the forest. The people of Ayodhya, which is the capital of his kingdom, welcomed Rama by lighting rows of lights all along the streets and the roads, every houses, they lined up the lights. And this is another reason they called it as a Deepavali on this day. A work from ancient work from Kashmir, which belongs to more than 500 to 800 AD. This festival is called as Kartika Amayam Deepamala Varnanam. So Kartika Amayam Deepamala Varnanam is the word used by in the Kashmir oldest text. And in another ancient work of Yakshatilaka Sambhu, if you see, by Somadevasur, who belongs to the 10th century AD, and he describes this festival also as a festival of lights following Navaratri, where every houses are whitewashed and brightened with lights. And in another legend, if you see, the festival is also referred as Kartike Deepam. And it is observed on the Purnima day, which is the full moon day of the month Kartike, under the solar calendar month, by lighting array of lamps. So that's why it is called as Deepavali.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it is celebrated across the globe as the Festival of Lights. Could you elaborate on this?
Okay, first let me tell you about how our faith and our tradition talks about this festival of lights. According to one of the theory, Deepavali might have originated as a harvest festival, marking the last harvest of the year just before the winter. That's the beginning, actually. If you see the Vatsyayana, who refers Deepavali as Yaksharatri in a work of his, that since it is observed during a Hindu lunar calendar month in the month of Kartika on a new moon day, which is an Amavasya day. So that's why he call it as Yaksharatri. But he also refers it as a Shukaratri. Normally festivals are not observed on Amavasya, but whereas here this Deepavali is observed on Amavasya day. So he changed to that day as a Shukaratri, since it is the concluding day of the year. So the day after Deepavali, which is the first day of the new year under the Vikrama era or the Vikrama Samvatsara, which is in short, people refer it as Vikram Samvat. This is possibly why Vatsyayana referred Deepavali as the last day of the year, and next day happens to be the beginning of the new year. Whereas if you take the agrarian society, originally, people were of agriculturists, then they become a businessman. So the businessman, what they do is on this day, they close the account, and thus it becomes the beginning of a new accounting year. So the deity of wealth, which is none other than goddess Mahalakshmi, is therefore thanked on this day, and everyone pray for the good year ahead. If you see the another legend where Kubera, who was rewarded by Lord Shiva as one of the god of 8 direction, which is the north, like you have Indra, Yama, Agni, Varuna, Vayu, Kubera, Ishana, like that. So Kubera was assigned as the god of northern direction. So Lord Shiva also made him as the Lord of wealth and materials too. As the god of wealth and material, Kubera's responsibilities are to distribute this, whereas the creation of wealth and material, that responsibility lies with goddess Mahalakshmi. So that's why people perform Kubera Puja on this day, and because Lakshmi is the one who produce and Kubera is the one who distribute, so there is a Lakshmi Kubera Puja is done on this way to have a wealthy and comfortable life, and which is done on the Deepavali, which falls on the Amavasya day as per this legend. And the people also worship the separately as Lakshmi Kubera Yantra to have the Aishwarya Apavriddhi, which means to attain wealth and prosperity. If you look at the another legend, I'll just tell one or two more and then we'll go to the next question. So it is the day of victory for Lord Krishna, who said to kill demon Narakasura. So the demon was said to do maximum atrocities in the earth, killing a lot of people and captured women under his control. So people prayed the Lord Krishna and who killed the demon. So the same story is also told in Mahabharata in different way, that Narakasura was born to Bhuma Devi and Varaha Avatara of Mahavishnu, and so he's Narakasura, and he killed a lot of devas and humans alike. So all the people and deva approached Mahavishnu for a relief. So Mahavishnu defeated this demon Narakasura, and this demon, he was filled with remorse and entreated the Lord that day each year, which is the Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi, under the Chandramana, that is a lunar measure, should be celebrated by people with new clothes, with new food preparation and all. This also forms one of the basis for observance of Deepavali. And one more thing I'll tell you about even the Ketara Gauri Vrata or Ketarishwara Vrata, which is one of the 8 austerities of great with Vrata. It's called as Ashtamaha Vrata, of which is followed by Saiva section of Hindu faith, is observed during the same period. So, of course, a very detailed explanation is available in Skanda Purana. I will not go in depth of this, and which is also been observed during the same period. And like this, the Deepavali is celebrated for elongated day. So, as any festival which is celebrated, if it is celebrated beyond 5 days or 6 days, there will always be a Kalyana Utsava observed in the last day. So, especially for this Deepavali, people observe Tulasi Vivaha after completion of the Deepavali festival. And like in the last question you asked about the name of Diwali, even there is one more reference given in ancient texts called Agananur, a book of poem which date back like Sangam age, about 200 BC time, which also very clearly states about the celebration of Deepavali on the full moon day. This is where the difference between Vatsyayana and here this text. Vatsyayana talks about celebration of Deepavali on a full moon day, new moon day, which is Amavasya day. Whereas this text, which is also of same period, which says Deepavali should be celebrated on a full moon day, so they named it as a Kartikeyi Deepa. Okay. Similarly, Avayar is another great poet, also poetess, which talks about this Deepavali. Now coming to, we spoke about the legend, Puranas and stories and Mahabharata. Even Veda and Agama talks about Deepavali. So if you see the 8th Patala of Kamika Agama, Uttara Bhaga, where it is narrated on Kritika Deepavali Puja Vidhi, it narrates Deepavalim Pravakshyami Shrunudhvam Dujasa Sattamaha Masetu Kartiketu Nakshatre Kritika Hvaye Purnayam Vate Tat Yoge Sarvakama Prasiddhaye Rav Astamaye Samaye Velayam Deepa Rohanamacharet. So here Lord Shiva tells how Deepavali should be observed. So Deepavalim Pravakshyami. when it should be done, and Masetu Kartiketu, it says. So the month of Kartika, on the Kartika Nakshatra, Kritika Nakshatra day, which coincide with Purnima, and Ravi Astamaya, it says. Ravi means here, it refers to the sun. Astamaya means sun setting time, at the dawn. So one has to light Deepa and observe it, it says. That is about Kamika Agama. But if you see the Uttara Karana Agama, it says, Kartikyam Parva Samyuktam Uttamam Parikirtitam Masa Pujam Pravakshyami Sayanne Pujanam Subham. So here also it says on Kartika Masa Parva Samyuktam. That means on the Purnima day. And Sayanne means again the Sayam Kala time. That is in the evening time. The Deepa Puja should be performed, it says. Now, one more Agama which is called as Chinti Agama. In that Masa Puja Viti, it says Kartikyam Kritika Rukshe Deepa Pujam Samacharet. So here also it says on the Kartika month, Kritika Nakshatra day, Deepa Puja should be performed. And finally, Yoga Jagama, which says Deepa Yantra Vidhanena Mahadipam Prakalpayet. So it says you have to install a Deepa Yantra. And why Deepa Yantra? Because you have to light Mahadipam, it says. That is why in the month of Kartika you find Mahadipam, Bharani Deepam, Kartika, they light a huge lamp on the top of a mountain. So the whole mountain itself is treated as a Deepa. So Mahadipam is lit. So like that, Deepavali is celebrated by several legends says, and Agama and Veda also gives references. In fact, very next day of Deepavali, one of the another small information, if I have to say, there is an emperor called Mahabali who said to come down to the earth on this day. That day is observed as a Bali Patima. So like that, finally, I'll just close it with one more reference. If you see in one of the Hindu mythology, the Kritika Nakshatra is, see, any legend, whatever I told you here, if you go through, there are two or three things which are common among all stories, myth, and things like that. One is Deepavali, that means festival of lights. You have to light Deepa. Number two, the month. Month is also very unique here. Month is Kartika. So if compare these two, Kartika is the name of the month because on that month, the Kritika Nakshatra, which is very closer to the earth and also to the moon. So on this day, it is said the star is very closer to the earth. It is very visible. And of course, again, Mahabharata talks about Agni and Swaha Devata, who brought up this 6 Kartika together, brought up this deity. So that's why it's called as Lord Shanmuga with 6 faces. That's why even soon after the Deepavali, the Skanda Sashti is also observed during these days. I think we'll move to the next question. I think we can keep on tell a lot of legends, a lot of Puranas and stories supporting the celebration of Deepavali in this month. I think sorry, a long time.
No, that's pretty elaborate. Thank you very much. I learned a lot. My next question is regarding the word Ganga Snana. I heard people greeting each other during Deepavali as, did you have Ganga Snana? Could you explain the reason behind it?
Okay. See, on the Snanam, actually, there are 2 types of Snanam means is a sacred bath. So Ganga Snanam. So Snanam means it is a sacred bath. And the sacred bath you have during the Deepavali time, okay, it is called as Abhyanga Snana or Tailabhyanga Snana or Ganga Snana. All are same. Some people call it as Abhyanga Snana, some people call it as Tailabhyanga Snana, some people call it as a Ganga Snana. It has got a story behind it, which is actually observed on Naraka Chaturdasi day. Okay. And there is one more Snana also, which is also very popular, called as Tula Snana. All are connected to each other. In fact, the Tula Snana is observed for a whole month of Tula or the Asvija and end up on the very first day of Kartika Masa. That is why this also have a connection. Okay, and Deepavali festival commences with sacred bath using this treated sesame oil. Sesame oil is treated with a lot of herbs and medicine, and that is used to take oil bath by the people. And the legend says goddess Lakshmi resides in the oil, and the Ganga Mata. Ganga is a very popular and very sacred river in. Actually, we don't call it a river; we call it a Ganga Nati. So this Ganga Mata is said to be present in water across the planet Earth, and we also use shikakai powder or a soap nut powder to clear up this oil. So that is done. So because Ganga Mata is there in everywhere throughout the world, on that day when people have the sacred bath, people used to greet one another as did you had Ganga Snana, like that. So Tula Snana, as I told you, it for the whole month end up with the first day of Kartika month. Thank you.
Okay. You said that the observation of Deepavali stretches from one day event to a fortnight event.
Yes.
If one has to observe it as a one-day event, do you explain as to on which day Deepavali has to be observed?
See, Deepavali is observed, as I told you, the month, if you see the logic and concept, the month is Kartika. That means the whole month we are supposed to celebrate. But of course, in the current scenario, we will not be able to celebrate any festival for the whole month. So people used to narrow down to particular day or multiple day, like maximum 5 days and 6 days, or sometimes it goes even to a week. Okay, only if it is a vrata, they will do it for 15 days or 21 days or one mandala of 41 days, like that. So which is the ideal day to observe Deepavali? That's what your question. In one day, again, no, there are a lot of tradition, lot of legends which people follow. So we will leave it to the individual who wish to follow this as per their legend. Actually, if you look at it, 2 days earlier to Amavasya, okay, because Amavasya is the main day people observe, but 2 days prior to Amavasya, which is called as Trayodasi, that day is called as Dhanteras or Dhan Trayodasi. It is also called as Dhanvantari Trayodasi. Why it is called as Dhan Trayodasi is because it is said goddess Mahalakshmi emerged out of Milky Ocean during churning of Milky Ocean by Devas and Asuras, and that too at the time of Pradosha Kala. So that is why Dhan Trayodasi, there is a puja for Mahalakshmi is done during the Pradosha Kala time. In a similar way, there is also a Dhanvantari Trayodasi, which is also observed by certain section of people on that day, which is again 2 days ahead of Amavasya. And they light Yamadipam. Like there are a lot of Deepam which are light. Each day when they light the lamp, it changes. The name is differing. So on the Trayodasi day, the lamp they lit is called as Yamadipam. Why? Because there is again a big story about what is the connection of Yamaraja on that day. So that is why they light the lamp called Yamadipam. Then if you take 1 day before Amavasya, that is Chaturdasi day, those who follow Lord Krishna's legend, who said to win over the Narakasura. Similarly, some part of people who observe a Chaturdasi Vrata, they will observe Naraka Chaturdasi day, which is 1 day before Amavasya. Okay, that is one. Only people who believes and follow that tradition, they will do it. Now coming to the Amavasya day, like Vatsyayana and other legends which says you have to observe Shukaratri, that is Amavasya day. Even though it is called as Eksharatri, but it is renamed as Sukaratri because of the for the agriculturists, for the businessman, for every those kind of people, they observe Deepavali on Amavasya day. That is as per the lunar calendar month, Kartika, which is for them, it is the last day of Asvija. Next day, Kartika month is going to start. Now, for those who follow it as a new year, I was telling you in one of the story, they close the account on the Amavasya day and the following day, which is Prathama day. On that day, it is called as Vikrama Samvatsara. Samvatsara means new year. Nava Samvatsara. Or Vikrama means it's a Vikrama era. So those who observe that, they will observe the day as the next day of Amavasya as a Deepavali day. Of course, I told you about the other legends, various Vedagama, which talks about the Kritika Nakshatra coinciding with Purnima in the month of Kartika, you have to light Deepa, it says. So for those people, they will observe it in the Purnima day of Kartika month. So one section of people will observe on the Amavasya day, other section will observe it on the Purnima day. Similarly, I also told you about the story of Kartikeya. So they celebrate 6 days. So that is why it's called as a Skanda Sashti, which is observed for 6 days from the next day of Deepavali onwards. And I also told you that any festival observation which is beyond 5 days, they will end up with Kalyana Utsava. So here also, after 6th day of observation of Skanda Sashti, we observe Sri Valli Devasana Subramanya Kalyana Utsava. So like that, it all depends on who wish to celebrate it at what day. It's up to them. But any day on the Kartika is there, but most of the people observe it on the Amavasya day. Thank you.
Thank you. So my next question would be, how do other traditions and faiths celebrate the Festival of Lights?
Okay, this is a very good thing. See, we are so far talking about our tradition, how we see for ourselves. There are a lot of legends, a lot of stories, and a lot of references to celebrate Deepavali. It is also celebrated by other people in different name. Okay, so but as I told you, even in our tradition, all the myth and stories and Puranas circulating around Kartika month, Kritika Nakshatra, and Festival of Lights. These three, you keep it, remember constantly. Kritika month or Kartika month and Kritika Nakshatra, Festival of Light. What is the connection of these three in this month? The same thing I will tell you by different faiths across the globe. See, if you see the name of Kritika Nakshatra or the star in English, or as per the astronomy, it is called as Pleiades. So there are different pronunciation about this. Pleiades and the pole star has got a connection. Like in our tradition, we talk about Kritika comes as a third nakshatra, like Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika. But if you see the Chinese literature, they talk Kritika as the first nakshatra for them. For them, Kritika, why they call Kritika nakshatra first? Because Kritika nakshatra is very, very closer to the earth. Of course, every nakshatra is a constellation of nakshatra. Even if you take Ashwini nakshatra, it is called as Ashwini brothers. They are called as twin brothers. So Ashwini consists of two stars. Then Kritika consists of a group of 7 stars. And again, the one star is not so this thing. No, it keeps on coming and going out. So they freeze only to 6 stars. That is Kritika is always called as a group of 6 stars, which even the European literatures talks about it, and Iliad, Odyssey, all talks about these 6 stars. Now, if you look at the Bible also, are 3 places in Job chapter 9, verses 9, then again chapter 38, verses 31, and as well as Amos chapter 5 and verses 8, talks about this Pleiades, which is the Kritika Nakshatra. That's about the Bible. Even if you take Quran, I have spoken to some of the Muslim scholars. They said, yes, Pleiades is a star mentioned there as in Najm, which find places in Quran also. They also, talks about this. Now coming to the Greek mythology. in Greek mythology is almost, I'll say, same as what Hindu Mahabharata and other legend says. Greek also talk about this seventh star. Okay, this seventh star is, they also named it like Maya, Electra. There are so many names. I don't need to spend much time on this, but they also say the parent of that, like how in Hindu mythology we say these seven stars are known as seven wives of Saptarishi. Whereas here in Greek, it's called a Saptarishi Mandala. So Saptarishi Mandala, Sapta means seven, Rishi. So these seven Rishis, the wife of seven Rishis are called as, out of which one is, not separated, other six are separated based on certain story behind it. Maybe I can tell you because there's nothing to do with Deepavali. I will talk about that. These six stars put together is only called as Kritika. Same thing in Greek philosophy. They also talk about the sixth star, and they say the father of the sixth star is known as Atlas. Today for anything to see in Google Map, if we go to Google Map, where in those days we use Atlas, is it not, to see the thing? So why it is named Atlas? Because Atlas is the parent of these six star, who is very closer to the earth. That's why they named Atlas. In my school days, I used to only use Atlas to see the maps of various countries. And again, there is one more Greek philosophy. They say, like we say, these six stars are wife of six rishis. They say these six stars are consort of God. That's what Greek philosophy says. And they are also called as, this is nothing but again, same Kritika Nakshatra. The same thing is spoken by retold by Iowa tribe in North America also. And when I talk about North America, there is one more ancient people lives in North America. It's a Navajo legend. They also talk about the same Kritika Nakshatra, six stars. They say when the earth got separated from the sky, they call black sky god. It's similar to our Lord Nataraja. So Lord Nataraja said in the month of Margazhi, he did the Rudra Tandava dance. Similarly, this legend says the sky god did a dance, and the sky god was having in all his ankle, the stars were falling from each, and this star came very closer to the earth, and they helped the sailors and things like that. So like that, every religion, every faith across the globe, they mention about the star, and which is closer, and people celebrate this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Can we talk about the science of the Festival of Lights and how it relates to the stars now that we have a better understanding of the various legends?
Yes. Okay, see, of course, I couldn't take much time because the previous questions you asked about the various other traditions. They also talk about, I told about that they talk about Kritika and the stars and how do they. Now coming to science, science also talks about this Kritika Nakshatra, Kritika month, and the Festival of Lights. And so this Festival of Lights, when I told you about the how Kartikeya is brought up by six Kritika, who is the wife of Saptarishis, and Kritika Nakshatra is closer to the earth. In a similar way, in astronomy, Kritika is, as I told you earlier, it is referred as Pleiades. Pleiades means in astronomy it is seventh star. But even in astronomy, they agree out of this major object 45, it is mentioned in the text, if you can Google and see. They say it is an open star cluster and located in the constellation of Taurus. We also say, every star is a constellation. It's not a single star, it's a multiple star. So astronomy also refers that it is a cluster of star of Taurus. And it is among they also agree, astronomers agree, the scientists agree that this is the cluster of star very closer to the earth. And most obvious, it will be, you can see it through your naked eye in the sky. And it is an object of wonder and interest. That's what astronomical scientist says. And see, if you look at in the olden days, when there was no electricity and no light, you know how people travel from one place to other place through boat, through ship, in the ocean. So in the night time, how do they travel? And when they did even invented a compass at that time to see the direction, so they refer this star only, because it is visible to the naked eye. It is connected to the pole star. These 7 stars are very closer to the earth, and these 7 stars always, or 6 stars always travel in the same direction and together. So that is kept as a reference. And even the night time, these sailors go to the destinations, because they have to travel multiple days, not like in how we travel by flights. In ocean it takes long time, so they follow this and they keep traveling even the night time using it. Even in those days, armies and militaries, they were using the star in the night times to move from one location to another location. There is another thing. So there are also argument in science. No stars can travel together. Is a standard theory in science. But however, one Reverend John Mitchell, who belongs to about 18th century, to be precise, in 1767, he researched and said even though the probability of these stars traveling together in the same alignment is only 1 in 500,000. But he is also wondering, when during his research he found these 6 stars, which is closer to the earth, always traveling in the same direction, at the same motion, at the same speed. All he found there is a relation, even though the chances of one star to other star is only 1 is to 500,000. But he's wondering that this Kritika star is so closer and aligned to each other. He agreed. So that means it is something beyond science. Okay. And these 6 stars are celebrated by faith people and by scientists and even by non-believers. They celebrate this star. Actually, it is, I should say, it is the nature's Deepavali. In the nature's Deepavali, in the sky, you see stars are lit up in the month of Kartika. Now, you should actually see in all 30 days in this Kartika month, you will find Deepavali in the sky. So it is not only globally celebrated, it is celebrated across the planet, I should say. So it is it's across the planet, Deepavali is celebrated. So we should be proud of celebrating this Deepavali.
Thank you. I made a mistake. It's
Okay.
Diwali. It's not Diwali. It's Deepavali. It's a row of lamps. So I
Yes.
apologize.
Festival of lights.
Yes. So it's Deepavali.
Yes.
So moving on to the next question, the last one. What is special for Deepavali this year at the New York Ganesh Temple?
Okay. So, of course, this again, like when we talk about Deepavali, world over, Deepavali is, entire planet and planetary system observe this Deepavali. But unfortunately, the planet Earth is in the midst of COVID. Okay, the complete planet Earth is affected by this pandemic. So unlike earlier period, this time we have to, consider this pandemic, and we still don't want to miss any program, and we want to follow the agamic guidelines, our ritualistic guidelines, and we will still observe Deepavali, of course, in a modified schedule. We will not compromise much on any religious code of conduct. And we will be advising people to view all our services through our live streamings. We invite everyone to see all our pujas done at temple, connect with our temple virtually, and observe the festival, staying safe at their home. And of course, even though we advise people to stay safe at home, we still open the temple during the darshan time. People are welcome to visit the temple and have the glimpse of all the alankarams and the Mahalakshmi's blessings Lord Kartikeya's blessings, Lord Shiva's blessing, Lord Mahavallabha Ganapati's blessings, and Venkateswara blessing. They can feel the energy and vibration during the darshan time. They are welcome to visit the temple. And of course, considering the situation, there are certain things where people wish to do personally, like for example, Vrata Pujas, like Kedariswara Puja, where they will have to do it. They need obviously our support. So for those people who wish to do Kedariswara Vrata Puja or Ketara Gauri Puja, we have arranged a virtual puja. Of course, it requires registration. One has to register, and we will send them the Zoom link, and we will explain them how to do it, and we'll guide them like we have been doing it for the past 9 months. So we will also do those virtual pujas to the best satisfaction of all the devotees.
Okay, thank you. I have one last question from one of our audiences. So you had spoken about the timing of the extended celebration at New York Ganesh Temple. So how do we continue to celebrate until Kartikeya Deepam?
Not like you can see all these things are listed. You can even now go to our website and see Deepavali celebration is listed out with full program schedule and the darshan time. Similarly, the Skanda Sashti, the following 6 days, 7 days, how it is, what are the program schedule, what are all the live streaming timings, and what are when they can come and have the glimpse of the deities, it is listed. Similarly, Kartikeya Deepam, Kartikeya Somar, I think we have listed till end of November. All the programs are listed out in our website. One can see the website and follow it, and they can come and observe the festivals still.
Great. Thank you. I would like to have some closing remarks, some of the announcements. The Diwali celebration this year will be observed online from November 12th to November 14th, 2020. For all the information, you can visit nyganeshtemple.org Deepavali 2020, which is the one you're seeing in the below right now. Our information, including temple timing for darshan, will be November 12th, Thursday, 11 a.m. to 4:45 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. November 13th, Friday, 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. And November 14th, Saturday, it'll be 10:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. The Sri Kedarishwara Vrata Puja is available for virtual participation on November 14th, 2020 at 5 p.m. For online sponsorship, please log on to nyganeshtemple.org/Deepavali. There's a Parshala program tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Zoom for gravitational lensing and climate change. Please go on to the website to find the Zoom details. Our next learning series, session 37, is on December 12th. Before we close off, I would like to thank Sri Vaidyanatha Sivacharya taking time from your busy schedule and talking to us about Deepavali. I wish everyone a happy Diwali. Deepavali.
Thank you. On behalf of the Hindu Temple Society of North America, we wish everyone to have good Deepavali, Shubha Deepavali. Not only Deepavali, Skanda Sashti and Kartikeya Deepam, the whole month. Have a good celebration and come and visit the temple during darshan time and get the personal blessing of the God. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.